Okay, in this video I am going to show how I put Odies oil on my handles and pepper mills, other things like that. This is a really cool block we just got in that we're making some pepper mills with, and this is the Odies oil. Now, I don't use tons of Odies oil, and I mean that in the sense of I don't go through a lot of volume. I do put it on a lot of stuff, but a little goes a long way. So I'm sure I'll get some Odies lovers and haters that will tell me I'm not using enough or too much or whatever, but this is what I found works for me. This jar I've been using about 3 months, and I put it on a lot of stuff. It's about half full, so you can see how far it goes. I always like to give it a quick stir with a popsicle stick, and then I will just kind of take it and smear some on in different places, and this is probably more than enough. And the reason I'm wearing gloves is I like to just rub it in, so I work it in. Now you could do this on the lathe, it wouldn't hurt, but the only reason I'm not is one, it was easier to show it this way, and two, then I don't have to clean any of my live centers, dead centers, or chucks that I use to turn these. So really quickly you can see how nice that Odies makes this wood look. I mean, it's cool wood anyways, but it's really cool to be able to see it with the Odies oil on it. And I'm just basically working it in, pushing it in with my fingers, and that way I get a good amount everywhere. When you're using it in a piece like this where it has slopes and little canyons and things, it might be harder with something firm to get it into this groove. So I could use a cloth and it would work fine. I just would have to really make sure I don't miss any areas. But you can see that that little bit has completely covered. I think I've covered the whole thing here. I want to get the bottom. I like to go just inside the lip as well, to kind of make sure that that's covered. And even as much as I've spread it around and as little as I put on, you can see there's still a bunch of Odies oil on the surface. So what's going to be cool is I'm going to let this sit for about, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, and then I'll come back with my paper towel and buff it off. So now that I'm completely covered, really, it takes the wood from like a 5 to a 10 because it just gives it an amazing shine. And one thing to remember, this is penetrating, so it's not only giving it a surface protection, but it's soaking into the wood to give it a little more long-lasting life. So I'm going to leave that sit for a few minutes, and then I will come back and buff it off. Okay, so it's been about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and I just want to finish this thing up. So again, we're doing Odies oil, we're doing the finish here, and it's soaked in, but you can see there's still some on the surface. So I'm just taking a clean towel here, like a cotton cloth, and I just kind of, anytime I do a handle, I just kind of buff it like this by hand. I suppose you could put it back on the lathe and buff it, you know, more aggressively, but this seems to work just fine. And that's taking the Odies off of there, all the excess I should say. And you just want to go around the whole thing. Anywhere it's got Odies oil, you want to buff that surface. Now, I've found that I can come back a day or two later and do a second coat, and it gives me a little more shine and sheen. But this stuff, I used to use walnut oil based friction finishes on my handles and things like this, but the Odies oil makes it feel so much better. It's a softer, like more inviting feel, and it seems to give it more protection for a lot longer. The other friction finishes would look dry after, I don't know, 30 to 60 days. This stuff always looks like this. So once you apply it, it's a long-term finish that will really hold up well for you, and it just feels great. So that is it. That simple. Odies oil. We have this in the store at Turner's Warehouse, as well as these cool color blocks if you want to make any handles or pepper grinders. Thanks for watching.